Here's some more details about this process that I went through on the Perkins 4108. I really like these motors. I worked on them a fair amount, and I don't know, they're just pretty cool. Old school, you know. So, okay, we have these fittings here for the fuel, and over in here on the injection pump. And maybe I can get some a little bit better light on this. On the top of the injection pump, these fittings go in that have an upset in them, these injection lines, and you have to use these things we call olives. They go into the opening first, like right in this one here. An olive will go in there first, and then the fuel line goes through the olive, and the upset that's pressed into the line crushes this olive to make the seal. Now, I've been looking high and low to find the device that does the upset. See, it would be about right here, and my other lines are with a friend right now, but it'd be about right here. There'd be an upset, and the olive goes on the end of the line like that, and then it gets crushed in there with the fitting. So that's one thing. The other thing I wanted to bring up is this is one of the older type injection pumps, and something to know about these injection pumps, and I really don't like them the way they're set up. Inside here on the shaft, it goes into the gearbox, which goes into the crankcase, and the seal on the shaft is two umbrella seals, and they're like rubber cups with a hole in the middle, and when they put the injection pump back together, they have to put the edges of the umbrellas into the opening one at a time as they push in the shaft, and they have to stay oriented to where they're cupped. So they're cupped like this towards the inside of the injection pump. Well, if one of those flips backwards, or if they get a crack in them, you'll make oil, as they say. It'll be bleeding diesel into your crankcase, and you got to pull the pump off and take it all apart and have a shop do that. Or if you're underway and you suddenly see that you got maybe diesel coming out the dipstick, or your oil pressure is dropping and you got a crankcase full of diesel, you got a real problem. And that was a real flaw in the design of these pumps. I've had some of these pumps rebuilt for customers, and they didn't catch that those two umbrella seals reversed as they were put in. And I don't have one in front of me, but you go to all the trouble of getting an injector pump in, and it leaks diesel. Now here's the timing line right there. This is the older style pump. There's a newer version out, and you just hope they got it right when you go to put it all back together. Now, the pulleys here, this engine was sitting around, so you got to get this real cleaned up. I've cleaned it up partially. It needs to be better because the corrosion in that pulley will eat on the belt. So that's got to be dressed up a little bit better. Let's see, what else did we... This was actually, I searched it online and found it. I think it might have come from England, I'm not sure. And if your diaphragm goes in your lift pump, it'll also bleed diesel into your crankcase. That's another option of where you can run into trouble. Now, here's an interesting thing. I put in this, it's actually a leather seal for the pan. This is a cast iron pan. And you get it crushed in place. And then when you go to put the seal on it, and the mount for the seal like this, you see that it's in the way, so you have to take a razor and shave that off, which means basically you're not going to reuse that gasket, because you'll have a hard time getting it centered again. So there's just some of the things that I ran into when I worked on this. And so I got to get that reassembled. These manifolds with your water injection, sometimes they can be a problem because they strip out, the studs strip out. Just items to watch. And when you're hoisting, see right here, make sure that you're not putting pressure on your injector. So that's just some of the details on these Perkins. The main problem with these Perkins isn't the Perkins themselves, it's the tiny spaces on sailboats where they're squeezed in. Like getting at this pump, if there's a wall here in the sailboat, oh man, it is really hard to get access to the pump. And back in here, and you see that right there, that's a Allen bolt. It takes a 7/32 long Allen on an extension to get that in. And I stuff a little piece of paper toweling on the end of the Allen and then shove the bolt onto the end of the Allen, and that paper toweling sort of locks it in place so I can get way back in there without dropping it in the bilge. Yeah, that's fun. But I hear there's like, not all just in sailboats, but there were 20-some million of these made all over the world, and there's 5 million still in service. A lot of them in harvesters and swathers and things like that. So anyway, those are some of the details of the fun of working on Perkins.